Namaste. Welcome to KP Storytime. As usual, Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atithi Devo Bhava. I'm bowing to my mother, father, my teachers, and the guests, all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. This is our second episode. Of course, we know there were some audio issues last time. Can you tell us how the audio is today? So, we were discussing about Ramayana started. So, it's biography of Rama. As we discussed last time, we want to learn biography of a great person so we can follow that person. Generally, a kid, even though a grown up, will be thinking how his or her father, mother would behave in a certain status or in a certain situation. That's because it is ingrained in the person's brain by observing his or her parents. So anytime there is a challenge, the kid remembers how the father was reacting to that. Similarly, the biographies also will give us a way to compare our behavior or to guide us to go through any challenge. So Ramayana, as said, biography of Rama, will give so many examples and so many stories of how Rama faced each challenge. And so we can refer to them. So last time we discussed that Dasratha was father of Rama and Dasratha had wives. So let's talk some more about Dasratha. There was a country called Kosala on the banks of Sarayu River. It was very wealthy country. The people there were very happy. They were very wealthy. Can you say how the audio, please? Excellent. Thank you. So, country is wealthy. People are wealthy. They were always talking truth only. There was no sickness. There was nothing. No one unhappy. Everyone was thinking of good for others. So, why would that happen, or when would that happen? You might be seeing multiple families. So, one family, they're all happy. Everything goes very smoothly for them. Whatever they wanted to achieve, they would be achieving. Whereas in another family, things are not that smooth. It is all because the head of the family, it depends on head of the family and his or her character. We have a saying, Yatha Raja Tatha Praja, means however the king behaves, his people also behave the same way. So if you have good heart, if you are helping people, if you want to be happy, your family will follow you. Similarly, here also Dasaratha was such a great king. He always followed the rules. He performed all the rituals that a king is supposed to do. So the people were also following him. And when everything is like that, the weather helps them, God helps them. People also live in a harmonious way. So Dasharatha had 8 ministers. Each one of them is great in his own way, his own field. Sumantra was the head of the ministers. They always thought about king's best interests, country's best interests, and also how to keep good relationship with the neighboring country. Always understand that when you should have someone surrounded by you who can give you good advices. We do, I mean, as an individual, we may not be able to take right decisions at the right moments all the time. So it's better to have some advisor next to you to look after you and say, this may not be right for you. At times we are carried away by the emotions, and at that time we may be making a mistake. At that time, the ministers or your advisors will be able to advise you. And in my personal life, I've chosen 4 people from various parts of the world. And I told them that these are my principles. At any point of time in my life, if you see that I'm getting away from those principles, immediately bring it to my notice, saying that you have promised yourself to conduct your life in this manner. These are the principles you said you will be adhering to. But now I see that you are defying one of the principles or all the principles. So that's how you want to have some people around you who will guide you in a proper way and who think good about you. You're not alone. We are in a society. And so we should get those advices. So similarly, Dasharatha had 8 ministers, and then he had 2 acharyas, 2 rishis. One was Vasishta, the other one was Vamadeva. Again, Vasishta and Vamadeva are rishis who knew all the rituals, and they know how a king has to perform, what is good for the country. So they were giving him the advices. So ministers were giving the advice of how to rule the country, whereas the rishis were telling him how to perform the ritual and what is good for him, what is good for his kingdom. So they were guiding him in that manner. Why do you need 2 acharyas? Why not one only? So this reminds me that you always have a backup plan. You should have, of course, in the technology field, we call it high availability.
Sorry, I don't understand.
So high availability is because 24/7, you do not want, you want the things to happen the way you want them to. I remember reading a story. This is out of context, but there was a Don. He was very, I would say he was very uh, shrewd one and very good with the management. So one day he had he had one person had all the secrets. He was carrying his secrets and going to the police, to the cops. So Don wanted that person to be intercepted and take away all those secrets. He calls his assistant and says, this guy is going from station A to station B in so and so bus. I want you to intercept him and get those secrets from him. So go in 2 vehicles, 2 different groups, and get him. So the assistant says, why 2? I'm alone is enough. I can just go there. I can get him. So Don said, that's why I'm Don and you are still assistant. Because at any cost, I want that person to be controlled, and I want those secrets to be collected from him. What if your vehicle goes bad? What if you get sick while going, or something happens that you cannot reach? So I want two teams to go simultaneously in different way, in different paths. So maybe one path may end at some for some reason. So work zone may be there. Whatever it is, so you have to have two different paths, two different teams going towards that same destination and getting that person. At least one team will be successful. So I'm not propagating the Don's nature or anything, but I say even in that situation, even in that business also, he did not want to fail. He wanted to have the backup plan. Similarly, whatever we do in our life, if you want to have a success, a guaranteed success, you have to don't think about how can you succeed, because it may take multiple things to succeed, but one thing is enough to fail. So always think about your failure mode scenario. So how what all the things can fail me from reaching this goal? And when you take precautions to cover all those failures, success will be automatically with you. So here also Dasratha had, that's why he had 8 ministers, he had 2 gurus. Everything is going very smoothly for him. Still, he was unhappy because he did not have son. He was always thinking about it. One day, he thought maybe I should do a yagna called Ashwamedha. That ritual, what is that? So, yagna is a ritual performed by kings. So, Ashwamedha is one of that kind. So, in that, a horse is let go for 1 year, and that horse can travel anywhere. The king who is performing that Ashwamedha is supposed to send troops to take care of that horse and make sure that that horse comes back to the country at the end of the year. In that 1 year, anyone can challenge the horse. That means anyone can grab the horse, capture it, and then confront the king who is performing that yajna. I was thinking about it. What kind of yajna is it? Why would he wanted kids and he's sending horse across? It's going through multiple countries, and those countries are owned by or ruled by different kings. And those kings have to say, yeah, we agree that Dashratha is a great person. So we allow horse to go through our country. Or I'm not agreeing with Dashratha. I challenge him. So he grabs the captures the horse. Dashratha's troops have to confront that king. If need be, they have to take a war with them, defeat that king, let the horse move further. What is the relationship between this? At that point, I thought it may be a symbolism. Our brain or our thoughts are compared with horse. In our mother tongue, we say korikale gurra laite. So if your wishes run like horses, which are not controlled, so an uncontrolled horse can go anywhere. So if your wishes behave, or if your wishes are like uncontrolled horses, how would they go? You do not know. There is no guarantee that you will be reaching destination. So when you want something, there are so many wishes in your brain. If you try to control them, this just come back with vengeance. Instead, whatever wishes you have, just think about them. As Dasratha left the horse to roam wherever it wants to. Similarly, leave your wishes, let them wander anywhere, get all of them. So, even when we are doing meditation, we say don't try to control anything, let the thoughts flow, and then you start thinking them in their own merit. Read all those thoughts and focus on the thought that is very important to you. So we are also doing Ashwamedha in this manner, right? So we are letting our wishes flow, let our thoughts go wherever they want to, and then start thinking, is this thought adding value to me? Get it out. And that's where we are going to confront our wishes too, our thoughts. That may be the country where a horse has been captured. So similarly, we will be saying, this thought is not adding any value to me. Get it out. This thought is adding value to me. Keep it. And then start fulfilling those wishes. Whatever is good for you, good for the society, start fulfilling those wishes. Basically, they say that our brain is of 8 parts. Our mind is of 8 parts. 7 parts are subconscious mind, and only 1 part is the conscious mind. So the conscious mind, 1 part, will not be active when we are sleeping. So if we are sleeping for 8 hours, that mind is active only for 16 hours. And that's the only part that is enriched by the knowledge that we are acquiring by reading, listening, hearing, whatever it is. So observing. So all that knowledge gets into that one conscious mind. Whereas the 7 are unconscious mind, 7 parts of the unconscious mind. It does not know anything. Any unfulfilled desire from the conscious mind will be transferred to the subconscious. Imagine you wanted to eat pizza, you wanted to go to a movie, and you wanted to become a millionaire. You could not do it right away. So as far as the conscious mind is concerned, it could not fulfill it. So those 3 wishes are called unfulfilled desires. And because conscious mind is not able to fulfill them, it transfers those 3 to the subconscious mind. And subconscious mind is working 24/7. Did you ever experience, you saw a person, you forgot the name of the person. You say, what is his name? What is his name? What is his name? You try for some time. And then you just get on along with your life. You'll be doing something else. You forgot that you wanted to know the person of that, the name of the person. But next day, maybe when you are in a restroom, in some odd place, the name just gets to your mind. Oh, that guy's name is so and so. How did it happen? Yesterday you thought of that person. You wanted to get the name, but you could not. And you were not even thinking about that person. You are at an odd place, in an odd situation. Suddenly that name comes up. Behind the scenes, conscious mind said, this is an unfulfilled desire. It transferred that desire of knowing the person. Excuse me.
Yes. కొంచెం
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting the feedback from Prakash. So the subconscious mind is the conscious mind transfers that wish of getting the name of that person to the subconscious mind. Subconscious mind does all the data analysis, data mining, all of that. And suddenly, as soon as it gets the name, it transfers it to the conscious mind. That's the power of subconscious mind. But one drawback with it is it does not know the priority of your wishes or your desire. Buying a pizza, going to a movie, becoming a millionaire, all the three things are equal to it. It divides its power to get all the three things done. But we know, conscious mind knows that becoming millionaire is more important than getting pizza. So for that matter, you want to have less unfulfilled desires that can be transitioned to subconscious mind. That's why you have to get your simple desires, fulfill them. Don't keep them there. Similarly, when you are doing this Ashwamedha within yourself, so-called Ashwamedha within yourself, look at those thoughts, get them off. If they're not adding any value, if they're adding value to you, then fulfill them as soon as possible and leave the major ones for your subconscious mind. Similarly, Dasharatha also has wanted to perform Ashwamedha. Just because he wanted to perform the Ashwamedha, and he's king, he can do anything he wanted, but he called his ministers. He called Sumantra and then said, hey, please invite all my gurus also, Vasishtha and Vamadeva. When they all came in, he said that you all know that I wanted to have a son, but it is not happening. Now I wanted to perform Ashwamedha, maybe that will help me out. At the same time, please think about it and then weigh in all possibilities and let me know if I am thinking rightly. What does that mean? If he's a king, he can just tell them that I want to do it. Come on, make all the arrangements. Instead, he said, can you weigh it? All the 8 ministers and 2 rishis, all of them. And then he said, please correct me if I am wrong. Please let me know if I am not thinking right. So any manager, for that matter, any head of the family has all the powers to take the decisions, but still it is including the people around you. Even if you have made up your mind, you want to tell them that your opinion is important. At the same time, you might have missed so many issues, so many things as one human being, and rest of the team may come up with all the issues that may occur, or what all the things that the king or the boss is missing. So always, we are all managers, not necessarily in an organization. We manage our family, or we manage our friends, we manage our kith and kin, whatever it is, we are managing. Even a pet, we manage. So that means in one way or the other, we are all managers. So if that is the case, a manager's best ability is to understand what is needed, what to be done, how to be done, at the same time getting the opinion of surrounding people, his advisors, so that way they support him in total. They support him or support the manager or the boss wholeheartedly. So when Dasratha asked his ministers and rishis, immediately they said, very well, that's a good thought, let's do it, we will make it happen. Wholeheartedly they agreed to that, and then they all left. At that point, when Dasratha was alone, Sumantra approached him and he said, O king, I remember an ancient happening. So there was a great sage called Sanat Kumara. Once he was surrounded by many rishis. This was long time ago, and at that time Sanat Kumara told them what would be happening in the future. He told them that there will be a rishi called Vibhandaka, and he would have a son called Rishyashrunga. Rishyashrunga was brought up in such a way that he knows only his father, no one else. he grows up. Even then, he does not know anyone else other than father. That means he does not know any difference between female and a male. All he knows is his father. And he was totally taking his advices to perform. Why would that be? So the way I thought was always all the kids, newly born kids, or whoever did not know the surroundings, they're very handsome, they're very beautiful, they're so innocent. Their minds are not corrupted. Only when they are growing up, surrounding people will say, "This is mine, call this is mine, tell me, whose is this?" Immediately the kid says, "Oh, this is mine." And he starts grabbing. And if he does not get, he starts crying. That means if a kid is grown without any such feelings that this is mine, this is his, he is different, I am different, imagine at the age of 20 also, he or she will be still innocent, thinking good for everyone, and always having positive thoughts. So Rishyashringa was brought up in such a way that he was very, very innocent and was thinking only positive. And that personality always is surrounded by the positivity. So Sanat Kumara was telling the rishis that this Rishyashrunga is a great person because he did not have any negative feelings for anyone. In parallel, over a period, there would be a country called Anga, which is ruled by uh, Romapada. Just because of one misdeed by that king, the entire country had experienced famine. That means no crops, no water, no rain, and everyone was suffering. Then the king was told to get Rishyashrunga to his country so that everything will be good. What does that mean? A good-hearted person comes into your life or into your home, he brings that luck with him. So now the question is, Vibhandaka is taking care of Rishyashringa and Rishyashringa knows nothing other than Vibhandaka. How can Romapada get him to his country? The ministers told him that send courtesans, let them deal, let them bring him here, attract him and bring him here. So courtesans went to Rishyashringa's place when Vibhandaka was not there, and Rishyashringa was surprised to see some other person, a female who does not look like him. So he was curious. He went to them, he started talking to them, and he said, "I want to perform my prayers to you." So he offered prayers to those courtesans. They took it and they gave him in return all the sweets, candies that were made in Angadesha, the country, because Rishyashringa always ate only fruits right from his childhood. Everything natural. But this time he saw these things, he said, "Wow, these are something excellent." And he started making friendship with them. Then one day, courtesans told him that we came to your home, please come to our home so we can offer our prayers to you. Rishyashringa says, okay, that's how courtesans bring him to their country, Anga. As soon as he enters the country, rains were there, all famine was taken off, all good things were happening. Then Romapada urges Rishyashringa to marry his daughter Shanta. That's how Rishyashringa becomes son-in-law of Romapada and stays in Anga itself. And that Rishi, that is, that Rishyashringa, will perform a ritual for Dasaratha, and Dasaratha will have 4 sons. That's what long back Sanat Kumara told rishis. So that means he was talking what would happen in future, and Sumantra was narrating that to Dasaratha, saying that whatever you are thinking now is in the right way, and you would be having 4 sons. From here, what we have to learn is if someone wants to do something good, please reinforce his faith into it. So that way the person can achieve it. If not, there are so many naysayers, right? They'll say, no, 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 you can't do this way. You can't do that. A kid, by the time he reaches 5 years old, on an average, hears the word no for 50,000 times, it seems. There was a research on. So many times you are told, no, you can't do it. No, you don't do it. You should not be doing it. It's it's programming his mind. That's why so many people do not want change. So many people do not want to do something new. So instead of that, start reinforcing their faith. That's what Sumantra did. Dasaratha, this is what Sanat Kumara told a long time back. I believe you will get 4 kids, 4 sons. Excellent. But he said you have to go to Angadesa, request that king to send Rishyashringa to you, to our country, so that Rishyashringa can perform the ritual for you called Putra Kameshti. Immediately, Dasaratha called Vasishta and Vamadeva again, and he told them what Sumantra told and said, what do you think? Look at the professional jealousy, right? The king has played such a good role there. He could have just said, okay, let's get Rishyashringa here. He will perform Putra Kameshti. Just a moment ago, he told Vasishta and Vamadeva to help him perform Ashwamedha Yaga. And all of a sudden, he says Rishyashringa will perform Putra Kameshti. What happens to his relationship with Vamadeva and then Vasishta? So he wanted to avoid the professional jealousy, professional war. So he called them and said, what do you think? Sumantra is telling me that this was what was told by Sanat Kumara a long time back. That's how he made that. And then immediately Vasishta and Vamadeva said, oh wow, we want to work with Rishyashringa. Let's welcome him so that we all can perform this ritual for you. As managers, as as an individual, when we want something to be performed by someone and then you want the team effort to happen, you have to behave this way only, so that there is no professional jealousy. Otherwise, once there is a professional jealousy, it's gone. The team effort is gone, team spirit is gone. You will never be successful because your team is not successful. At that point, after taking Vasishta and Vamadeva's blessings, Dasaratha goes to Anga. Romapada knows, they were friends. So when Romapada heard that Dasaratha was coming, he went from his palace. He went ahead towards the outskirts of the city to welcome Dasaratha. This one also, when someone is coming into your home, I've seen some people, they sit in their family room. They expect a person, and when the bell rings, they say, okay kid, go open the door, let that guy come in, because he's coming for his own sake. He needs something from me, so I will sit in my family. Let the guy come, approach me, and he has to feel that he's inferior to me, he's asking me for my favor. But that's not what Ramayana is telling us. Ramayana is telling, if someone is in need of your help, you go ahead, welcome that person. Anytime someone asking you for help is already down mentally, why do you have to elevate that person mentally so that things can go better? And the only way you can do it is heartily welcoming that person. Never ever that person should feel inferior to you. So that's how Romapada went, welcomed Dasaratha to his house, and he introduced Dasaratha as his best friend to Rishyashringa. Don't we experience that even if you are in a job search, you want references, good reference? That means whoever knows that manager well and is in good books of that manager should tell about you, refer you to that manager, then your job is almost guaranteed. Similarly, here also Romapada said, Dasratha is very good friend of mine, and Dasratha did namaskara to Rishyashringa. He stayed there for 7 days. Until then, he has not talked anything about his wish of taking Rishyashringa to his country. Again, you have to give time for any wish to come true, anything to talk. Not just because you saw a person to say, okay, oh, I was thinking about you, I want you, can you give it to me? Is he having the only business of giving them something that you wanted? He must be having something, so many things in his life. So first you have to understand how that person is, what is the mental status of that person, am I introduced properly to him, and is the stage set properly? Then only you should ask. And that too, you should ask it in such a polite way that if you think I deserve this, can you do this for me? So after 7 days, the Dasaratha asked Rishyashringa that I want to perform Putra Kameshti and I want you to perform that. I have permission of my gurus Vasishta and Vamadeva. Can you please come with me? And he did not just stop at that point. He looked at Romapada and said, can you send your son-in-law to my country? If someone is visiting my home as my guest and you want that guest to visit your home, it is always a good idea to request the guest and also the host, because the host should also tell the guest that he's a very good friend of mine, you need to go there, he's very kind, I know he will be benefited if you go to his house. He's mentally preparing that guest to go to his friend's place. So always the principle is, if you are asking someone's guest to do something for you, you first have to take the permission of the host also. That's what Dasaratha has done. He took the permission of Romapada, he requested Rishyashringa to come, and on the recommendation of Rishyashringa, Romapada says, okay, I will come, I will perform Putra Kameshti, and you will have 4 sons. Again, he also confirmed that he would have 4 sons. So, and we happen so many, lot of things happen in our life. Mostly, we remember only the negative thing. In this context, let me say a small story of Dasaratha again. Long time back, Dasaratha went for hunting. He had Sabdabedi. Sabdabedi means he can hear the sounds even without seeing that target, he can hit the target. So he was sitting at one place, he was listening an elephant drinking water. Immediately he hit that elephant. He heard a boy screaming. He runs to that place. There was a boy who was collecting water in his pot. That's what Dasaratha heard as an elephant drinking water. He he hit that boy. He did not know what to do. He said, I'm extremely sorry. What can I don't know what to do now. Then the kid, his name is Sravana, he said, oh king, don't worry about me, but my parents are blind. Both my mother and father are blind, and I have been taking care of them. Now I have to go back, and they will be waiting for me. They would not know what happened. So please take me there and give them this sad news. and please take care of them. A son is always supposed to be thinking about the parent. And how can he take care of the parent? That's how you can repay the debt. The parents have given you the birth, parents have taken up. Yeah, I mean, son, daughter, the kid, to be frank. I'm sorry if I'm saying son, but it's kid. They invest so much. Unconditional love. They enjoy the kid growing. They enjoy kid's success. So kid also is supposed to go back and repay to those parents in some way. So Sravana was doing the same thing. He was taking care of his blind parents. All of a sudden, Sravana was killed. So someone has to take care of the blind parents. So Dasaratha goes there and breaks that bad news. Those parents were in such an agony. Immediately they curse Dasaratha. They say, as we are dying because of the loss of our kid, you will also die because of loss of your kid. I mean, you get away from your kid. They don't say because of loss of your kid. They'll say because your kid goes away from you, you will die. Do you think Dasratha was unhappy or happy? Dasratha first was unhappy because Ravana was killed and the blind people became helpless. But by hearing the curse, he was happy because to die, his son has to go, his kid has to go away, which means he should be having kid. He said, "Oh, I will be having a kid." He was happy about it. Similarly, in our lives also, when we get the challenge, look at the positive side of that. You lose your job. Think that this is an opportunity. When we are in a job, we are so immersed into it, we do not think of improving our skill sets. We do not think how the world is going on, how the other companies are progressing, what kind of opportunities are there. We don't see all of that because we are immersed in completing the work in the current employment. But the moment you lose your job or one loses the job, it has to trigger, oh, something is going to happen in a right manner. Maybe this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for myself to prove in a different field or in a different level. So let me take this as an opportunity. Immediately, your positive thinking will elevate your mood and your confidence level that you start looking at the right opportunities. So every bad incident will have a silver lining to it. As the same way, Dasaratha, when he heard the curse that he will die when his son parts with him, immediately was happy. Oh man, I'm going to have my kids. All along I was thinking, I don't have kids. How do I get the kids? Now,
స్టోరీ ఒకటి ఉంటుంది అదే కోరిక ఒకటి అడుగుతుంది
yeah, right. So Prakash was reminding me of one story that my mother used to tell me. When you are wishing, you have to think a lot and wish. An old woman, God came to an old woman, and then he said, I'll give you one wish. I'll fulfill one wish. Go ahead, ask what you want. Then she said, oh, my wish, only one. She said, I want to live in in a 7-storied building at the top floor. I should have my grandchildren in a golden swing. Golden swing. What does that mean? It's only one wish, but at that time she did not even have a son. So for her to have a grandchild, she has to have a son. And to have a 7-storied building, she should be wealthy. And within that building, she should have a golden swing. If the swing itself is gold, how much rich that lady should be. And she should be healthy also, because she should be able to play with her grandchild. So always when you are wishing for something, always look at it and wish for the sky. Why do you want to limit your wishes? So when you are wishing, wish for the sky. Similarly, here also, Dasaratha said, oh, I know this is a little out of context, but Dasaratha was happy to know that he will have kids. After Sumantra told all these things, after Rishishunga talked about this, he remembered this story also and then said, okay, now I'm destined to have four sons. He, after Rishishunga accepts the invitation, he takes Rishishunga with him and his wife, Shanta, with him, and he invites Romapada also to join him. Before starting, he sends his messengers to Kosala and says, we are coming, make all welcome arrangements. By the time they reach Kosala or Ayodhya, the entire city was having banners welcoming Rishishunga, welcoming Romapada. Flowers were put on the streets. Everything was so beautiful. Why would you do that? It's all setting up the mood. When your guest is coming into your home, you have to make the guest feel that he is the best person in your life and you want that person to feel special. That's why we keep our home clean and we put all the pictures of that guest and ours on the display. And in India, at least, they garland that guest and they will be holding the hands of the guests, bringing them in and making them comfortable. Because you want your guest to feel that special status, and when that guest is feeling so happy, he wishes good for you. And any happy person wishes good for you will definitely have that positive energy flowing through you.
There's a great question that I'm curious, whilst wishing for the sky seems to be the reasonable thing to do, could it also be considered asking too much? If presented with the opportunity, should we be humble with our wishes?
Excellent question. You have to desire and you make yourself deserving. That's the combination. You have to desire for something and make yourself deserving. When you have a goal and you know what it takes to reach the goal, you will get all those capabilities. When I say don't limit your wish and wish for sky, I'm not saying that don't wish for something that does not exist. What is sky? There is no limit to the sky, and there is nothing as sky there. It's all vacuum beyond certain point, right? Similarly, here also, you desire what is beyond you and make yourself deserving. That means you are elevating your own character, elevating your own skill sets, so you can reach that desire. Make sense? Thank you. So, again, the Rishishunga was welcomed so well. Rishishunga entered Ayodhya. Everyone was happy. Everyone was saying that thank you so much for coming in and then blessing our king and also accepting his invitation to perform Uttakameshti. So then Romapada was also there. Rishishunga, Vasishta, Vamadeva, they all came together. Then Dasaratha called his ministers and said, do whatever my acharyas say and do exactly what they say. Look at it. He is setting the expectations. He is setting who is accountable, who is responsible. In our technology world, we say it's a RACI model, RACI, R-A-C-I. responsible, accountable, contributor, informed. So there are 4 roles in any act. So there should be only one accountable person. Multiple people can be responsible. Multiple people can be contributors to that. And multiple people will be informed. So in this case, he was establishing that acharyas are accountable for whatever is happening here. They will give all the instructions. You're all responsible to make things happen. Let your army contribute to the cause. Let the people be involved in that. And so go do it and do exactly what they say. Don't be, it's okay, let me do this. It's okay, he said get dozen, but I will get only 10 because dozen is not available. Or he may say, I want this particular pole to be 8 feet. Exactly, it should be 8 feet. He is also establishing that attention to details is very important. He was telling his ministers indirectly that whatever they say, do exactly, which means give attention to details. We always say details are, devil is in the details, right? Let's not, again, devil is in the details is a negative feeling. Don't do that. Instead, you say, I'm going to give attention to details. Anything until the last minute is not going to give you the success. Some people made some experiment, around 20 people, they said point A to point B, you run, touch the tree there or touch the wall there and come back. Guess how many people would have touched the wall or the tree? They were running, they think, oh, wall is there, they just go there. Oh, I touched it. Actually, they would not even touch. They think they touched it, they start running back. One person may be inches away from the wall, and another one sees that and says, okay, 1 feet away. He says, I touched the wall and comes back. You have not completed the task. You have not completed the work. So, similarly, anything that you are doing, you have to give attention to details, and anyone you're giving your work, you have to make sure that they will be giving attention to details. That's what Dasharatha told his ministers. And also he said, this is going to be a very sacred yajna, which means all of us should make it successful. Even if there is a small fault, that will have repercussions on all of us. And then he let them go. Now, he delegated his powers. He delegated his responsibility and accountability to his acharyas and ministers. The way you build your team, the way you build your employees is that you have to choose the right people and challenge them with a little more than what they can do, so they will have enthusiasm. Clear-cut accountability, responsibility, contribution should be given, and then just stay back. Don't do micromanagement. Of course, you have to get the status reports, all of that, but don't get panicked by looking, oh, why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing this? You won't be a good manager at all. Everyone enjoys achievement, and that achievement only is felt when that person does it on his own. Of course, with some guidance, but not with micromanagement. If you want your employees to be highly productive, highly happy, and then want to work with you, is this way. Get the right people, select the right people, give them their right work, define the accountability, responsibility, contribution, and let them go. Get the feedback. At the same time, get the feedback from 2 sources, not the person who is doing it, because sometimes the person who is doing that may give false information. Instead, you hear from the direct person and also get information from another source. That's why in the intelligence, right? The spies, every king used to have his own spies, and they used to go around and get the information. So he would get information from his spies, and also from the direct person. He correlates both of them. Then he will understand, or he can make an opinion on the person whom he entrusted the work. And even in the modern world also, as a manager, you have to do that. You have to get the information from your employee and also from the people who are working. That's where we have the 360 at the end of the year, right? We ask, get 360 from your colleagues. So this is all based on that. Then these ministers and Vasishta, they called all the ones who are going to work together. Vasishta told them that this we are doing on behalf of our king, and we all want things to go well for king, and he should have kids also. If we make a mistake, it hits the king, because we are acting on behalf of the king, and any mistake we do is owned by the king. If you are working for a company and you represent that company in the outside world, whatever you say, your company is responsible for that. That's why only specified people are allowed to speak on behalf of the company. Because that employer is bound by the actions of the employee. If anyone wants to sue, they won't sue the employee for the misdeeds, they sue the company. Similarly, this is what was told in Ramayana by Vasishta to the ministers and the people who were about to make this yajna successful. So he said, remember one thing, you are acting on behalf of the king, and any mistake you make will hit badly the king. So remember that and put all your good faith and good intentions into it. So whoever he talked to, they said, all these years, all our lives, we had faith in our king, we wanted to work for the king, we did all good deeds only, and we will perform that. One more thing we want to note here is, it's not that you want someone to do the work. Instead, you make the person want to do the work. There is a lot of difference between those two. If you make someone do something, as against make that person want to do that work. When that person wants to do that work wholeheartedly, you can imagine how good the quality will be. But if you make that person do, the quality will be very low. Here, Vasishta made sure that the workers, whoever he is going to entrust the work, they wholeheartedly said, all these years we served this king, we love this king, and we are going to give our 200% for this act. Imagine how quality that yajna would be performed. So many things, all these things you can learn by reading. Don't ever argue whether Ramayana did happen, whether Rama existed, why did he do this, why did he do that. Forget about that. If you can learn what you should do in your life to be successful, that's enough. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
It was.
if you're okay continuing, I would love to. Can you open to speak?
I can go on for 8 hours. That's not a problem at all. But only thing is, I don't know where you are from in the world, and what is the time, what are your what are your commitments. But let's keep it for 1 hour to start with, and then build the momentum. You cannot put your car in the fourth gear right away, right? So we have to go through the first gear, second gear, third gear, and then the fourth gear when the momentum is needed. Similarly, let's start. This is just the second episode only, and we will go further. And feel free to contact us individually to have any questions, and then any, I mean, I'm not going to give you suggestion. It's always I can explain what my experience in such situation that you are in, or what is how Rama would have behaved in that situation, and leave it to you to take care of your own situation, right? So this entire effort is to invoke thought process and then propagate positivity. There should not be any negativity, and the moment you have negativity, it bothers. And we'll talk about that negativity in the coming episodes too. But anyway, for the time being, thank you so much for joining.